Similarly, it's also important that you have as little packet loss as possible. 0.5 is acceptable with high resolution. Anything under 0.5 is acceptable for high resolution video. But then if you have more than that, but less than 3%, then you can go for not so great resolution. But anything more than 3% will hamper the quality of the video. And you can look at the packet loss over here, and we had a fantastic call because the packet loss is actually absolutely zero for both user 1 and user 2. Alright, let's go back to bitrate for a bit more. So you can see over here that the values given over here are for publishers. So this one is for the publish data of user 1 and this one is for publisher data of user 2. Now you can look at subscribers. Here you can see the data of subscribers, and in this particular scenario the orange line represents the user 2 subscribing to user 1, in which case user 1 is publishing. And over here similarly you can see the vice versa case of user 2 publishing and user 1 subscribing. Now if I add both of these, you can observe that the graphs are not very different from each other, and that's because what I did in the meeting was that I subscribed and published across the users. For a while user 2 was there, but then afterwards only user 1 was there. Because I did that, the graphs are very similar, but it's not a given that this will always be the case. In fact, in a meeting, it may so happen that you have very less publishers but a lot of subscribers. Let's say that you have a meeting where one person is talking and say 10 people are just listening, just subscribing, in which case you will have a lot more subscribers over here, a lot more lines over here, whereas only have one publisher. And finally, the last metric you want to keep track of is latency, which is another measure of how good the video quality was. Basically, latency is the amount of time lag that occurs between when a video stream is published and when it is available for its subscribers. And you can see the latency of the published stream of user 1 over here. The latency over here is very, very less. In fact, it's less than 1 millisecond. It goes up a little, but it's still well under 1 millisecond. What is the recommended value for this? Well, anything that is more than 300 milliseconds is bound to give a bad user experience. So going by that standards, having less than 1 millisecond of latency is fantastic. So there's almost no latency over here. The packet losses are also zero, and then the bit rate are, for the most part, they are more than 300k. So this is a fairly good video call, I would say. The users would not have experienced any problems whatsoever, except for a little bit over here and a little bit over here when user 1 and user 2 started publishing. But except for that, most of the call has been a fantastic call.